Welcome to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein, talking about the evolutionary, the revolutionary, the inspiration and the perspiration, and those aha moments that change everything. And now, here's your host, Rich Goldstein.
Rich Goldstein here, host of the Innovations and Breakthroughs podcast, where I feature top leaders and the path they took to create change. Past guests include Rick Cesari, Barb Serling, and Stephen Key. This episode is brought to you by my company, Goldstein Patent Law, where we help you to protect your ideas and products. We've advised and obtained patents for thousands of companies over the past 26 years. So if you're a company that has software, a product, or a design you want protected, go to goldsteinpatentlaw.com, where there are amazing free resources for learning about the patent process. And you can email my team at welcome@goldsteinpc.com to explore if it's a match to work together. You could also check out the book I wrote for the American Bar Association that explains in plain English how patents work. It's called the ABA Consumer Guide to Obtaining a Patent. I have here today Mike Saunders. Mike is an authority positioning expert. Mike is a speaker, best-selling author of 4 books, and a successful business coach who holds an MBA in marketing. Mike is also an adjunct marketing professor at several universities and a member of the Forbes Coaches Council. He's interviewed hundreds of industry experts on his podcast and cultivates the best of the best from industry experts. It's my honor to welcome here today, Mike Saunders. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Rich. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And such a great story. It's definitely my favorite story about how a guest came to be on the show. You basically, you sent me an unsolicited text message. It's like, like you get those text messages where it comes from a number, it's not programmed into your phone, and you're like, who is this person? And you texted me because apparently we're both using this marketing system. We're both customers of this marketing automation system, and apparently our messages were getting crossed. And so, I start texting with this random person. We get to realize that we both know a lot of people in common. We both have podcasts that are interesting to each other, and so we end up booking each other.
We're like, may as well come on each other's show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, normally like an unsolicited text message like that gets blocked. There were no funny photographs associated with it, so that's one of the reasons why the conversation continued. But yeah, so Mike, really great to meet you now after that kind of random interaction.
I think we'll both be telling that story for quite some time. That is a really great one. You see these courses, how to get booked on podcasts. Well, I don't think one of the tips is use the same service as another podcast host and have it go haywire and reach out to them and see how you can fix it.
Yep, exactly. And by the way, thanks for fixing the problem for both of us. You dealt with customer service and you got that all handled. But yeah, so you're in like your main thing is authority positioning. So basically, when someone has a persona, when someone has an expertise, and they're looking to kind of put themselves out further in the world, get more people to learn about what they have available, what they have to offer, then you help them position that. Is that fair? Or how would you describe it?
Yeah, well, you have to think about something when you are looking to solicit or to get a service from some provider. You're analyzing and you're trying to see, does this person seem credible or what do I see about this person online? And so many entrepreneurs have competitors. We all do. And the big problem is to get your target audience to choose you. And that becomes really, really hard to do. So you can go through all the courses and figure out how to make a pretty website and all of those things. But at the end of the day, it really gets down to what's in here, your intellectual capital. And really, at that point, it's still a secret until someone notices that you should be paid attention to. And so I believe that you can yell and scream and go, I'm the best and I've got this solution. and people don't care. So what I do is I help entrepreneurs be seen as that expert and that authority, that really a celebrity in their niche, not CNN level, not, not the big national stages, but in your target audience, your prospects will see you as that credible expert. And then you've got to do all the other things, treat them right, meet their needs, point out their problem and the solution you provide. But I help them with very specific ways to be seen as that expert.
Right. And it's among the people that matter. So, who cares about being on CNN if only 4 people in the CNN audience are the ones which really need to know about you. And so you being positioned in a way that those 4 people see who you are and see your expertise is really all that matters.
Well, and it's your true target audience. You think about, if I said to you, if I could magically wave a magic wand and put 35 people in a room, virtual or live, and you could speak to them and they would need your services, right? Your patent law services. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Well, yeah, but then they still are, and let's even play that story out a little bit more. Let's say that there's going to be 3 attorneys that are up there talking, and they're all patent attorneys, and these are 35 people that need what you offer. So here comes attorney 1, 2, and 3, and they all speak. What's going to set them apart? They all have law degrees, right? Because like I've got an MBA, that could trump some people that don't have an MBA. Well, in your world, you have a JD. Well, a lot of people don't have that advanced degree, but in this scenario of 3 attorneys, they're going to look and go, okay, does that one look presentable? Do they resonate? Do I resonate with what they say? But what if one of the ones, or let's say yourself, you mentioned, I've got free copies of my book in the back. I would love, in fact, you know what? I interviewed someone on my podcast recently about, and the other 2 people are just out there going, sell, 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 buy from me, buy from me. And they're going to look at Rich and go, you know what? They don't even think consciously about, he has a book, he's trustworthy, he has a book. I feel like it just feels right. And they look at the person that has those, what I call authority positioning assets, things out there that really set them apart, and having a trifold, flyer, brochure, who cares, a website. Hopefully you do have a website, but it's these other things that you can reach out and you can say, hey, here's a copy of my book. I'd love to give a copy to you. And that sets you apart. So it's those kind of things that doesn't matter what line of work you in. You might go, oh, well, that's great for an attorney. I've got clients who are in gutter repair. I've heard of someone that was a HVAC contractor, had a book. Well, guess what? If you needed your heating and air system worked on, and here comes 2 or 3 people giving you an estimate, and one of them hands you a copy of their book, you're going to sit up and take notice and go, all right, they were pretty credible, and they wiped their feet, and they seemed, their pricing was good. I'm choosing the one that really has taken their business to the next level.
Yeah, and I would say that if I was in that room and there was like 3 of us, 3 attorneys, like of course, like I could tell them that so I have my book and it's in the back if you'd like a copy, and if that doesn't work out, I could always say like, hey, by the way, drinks are on me at the bar. You can come join me. I'm just kidding about that. But yeah, the point is that the having that credibility sets you apart. It sets you apart in their mind. And another thing I extracted from that is having a great story, right? I mean, so sometimes if someone is not necessarily going to be like the expert, like let's say they have a product-based business, one of the things that really sells is the story that goes along with it. Would you agree?
Yeah, and you mentioned something in their mind, right? The perception in their mind. And in marketing, there's something called the 4 Ps: product, price, place, and promotion. And promotion is what your prospects think of you in the mind of the consumer. So it's that essence. It's not the logo, it's not the brand, it's in their mind. So that story penetrates through a sales pitch. And the other thing too is having those authority positioning assets, book, podcast, press, online presence, social proof, things like that, that pre-frames your authority and expertise in the mind of your target audience at the most crucial time. And guess what that is? before they reach out and interact with you. Have you ever heard of the concept called ZMOT, ZMOT?
No. Tell me more.
It stands for the zero moment of truth. You Google it, and an ex-Google employee wrote the book. You can download it for free. It's just a PDF, ZMOT. Well, back in the day, you would go looking for a car, and you would go to a dealership, and they'd pounce upon you and give you flyers and all of that. Well, the moment of truth is, let me go buy the car and drive it, and do I like it? Well, these days, the zero moment of truth is what happens before that interaction. It's your research. It's what you find out about the car, the brand, the dealer, right? And you get your Carfax. You get all of the consumer reports. So what in your business, as a legal or any other person listening to this or watching this business, your prospects are looking for your solution without even looking for you specifically. And before they interact with you, phone, email, in person, whatever the case is, they are doing research. And you better have those breadcrumb trail, ZMOT, the zero moment of truth. If you don't win at the zero moment of truth, you don't have a chance to wine them and dine them and be, schmoozy and have the rapport and have the know, like, and trust. You don't get that chance. Oh, but we've got the best process ever. Our clients are happy. That's great. But you didn't win at the zero moment of truth because someone else caught their attention. That's a big point. So that authority positioning at the zero moment of truth really sets the stage so that, maybe you get shortlisted to the top 2 or 3. And then you've got to then still deliver on the phone call, the in-person, the Zoom, and really, listen to their needs and whatnot. But I think zero moment of truth is such a big concept that people don't understand, frankly, never heard of.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about your book, Authority Selling. I mean, first of all, is that one of the concepts that you talk about in that book?
Yes. Yeah, it's a really big concept. And the whole point is, boy, do we need another sales book out there? I mean, how to make 10 closes, and, people just don't need that. And, kind of one of my little things that I say about the book is you're not going to find any sales scripts. So nobody needs a script. But the pre-frame, the way that your brand, personal brand, business brand is pre-framed in the mind of the consumer, using the ZMOT, but using some of these authority positioning assets is so critical. And guess what then happens? That stage is set for the sales conversation, and the potential for the sale to happen is increased dramatically because they perceive you and see you as that expert. So let's think of it like this. I've worked virtually for 10 plus years. I mean, I've got clients all over the country. I think I've got 2 in the state of Colorado where I'm at, and only one of them I interact with personally. It's just the world we live in is virtual. So let's just use this as an example. Any industry, any person watching this, no one that I work with has a website that just dings, sale. Right? Everybody has a website, and then, let's interact with phone, email, and you have a couple meetings, and then a sale happens, right? It's multiple steps. Well, let's say that someone set up an appointment with you for next week, and they wanted to learn about what you could do to help them out. And it's a discovery call. It's a sales call. But ahead of that meeting, maybe you send an email that says, hey, we're looking forward to connecting with you. No pressure. We're not going to be pushy, but at the meeting, we're just going to learn a little bit about what you need and tell you about what we offer. If there's a fit, that's wonderful. By the way, before we connect, I'd like to have you check out a copy of my book on Amazon. I've attached a digital version right here. You can read it right away. And there's a couple really neat podcast episodes that I was on recently, and I interviewed some really top guests about the topic we're going to talk about. Here's a couple links right here. Take a look at some of those, and look forward to talking to you soon. All of that in like 2-3 sentences in an email, right? Well, now they're going to look at that, and are they going to read your book, every single word of it? Nope. Are they going to listen to every syllable of the podcast episodes? No. But guess what they're going to do? They're going to go, you know what? That dude's got a book, and I glanced at it, right? I saw the Amazon listing. I glanced through the PDF. I listened to the first part of that podcast episode. All right, check. They're legit. And I think that pre-frame before that meeting happens, you then don't need to go to the meeting and sell as hard as you think you do, because now they've done a little bit of homework. And I've literally had people before a meeting like that, we have our pleasantries and small talk, and it's like, okay, hey, I listened to that one episode. I've got a couple questions, and we're just jumping right in. It's not me on the hot seat with the lights going, tell me why I should pick you. It's a conversation, and it's a stimulating kind of like a back and forth because they know that they can trust what I have to say. And when you can accomplish that, that's authority selling, because you're really not selling. Selling is like being pushy. People feel like that's what it is, but it's not pushy when you can do it the right way.
Yeah, and it's really creating relationship ahead of time. So you're starting with that relationship, and the relationship is one where they already have that trust for you because of that ZMOT.
Yep. You mentioned story, and it's story selling is not once upon a time, Rich. No, it's not story, but there's a story that goes on in the mind of your prospects before they interact with you. And you can mention to some, they might have a thought, question, objection, and you don't need to answer it with a response. Maybe you could go, hey, you know what? That reminds me, I had a client that we literally ran this campaign, and here's what. And you can answer the question by giving a story, an example, case study, however you want to think of it. But we all think in stories. And, when you're reading through something and someone starts saying, hey, you know what, that reminds me, just last week, you just feel yourself like perking up a little bit because you want to dive in that. And it really is something that you want to get someone engrossed in what you're saying, what you're doing. And many times that is a story, and it's an art form. It's not something that comes naturally. You have to think that way, but it really is effective.
Yeah, and also the story of you that they relate to, that they tell other people, like, oh yeah, so this guy I'm working with, Mike, like he used to run car dealerships, and then one day he decided blah blah blah, like just whatever your story. And I just made that up. That's not your story. Yep. But just people have a story of a product. It's like, yeah, like this little drain thing I have is like a single mom came up with it when she was trying to give baths to her kids, and then she realized that whatever. So that type of story behind the product is something that sells as well.
And you know what ties into that? Personal branding. Right. People feel like branding is corporate logos and messaging, and that's an element of it. But your personal brand is you. You're the face of the company, and many times entrepreneurs, you're the face of the company. Well, your personal brand, your story ties into that. And many times I've heard this so many times where someone goes, you know what? This one marketing guru that I follow, he used to be a wrestler in high school and college. And he would say, you know what? One time I was giving this presentation, I just mentioned in passing about my wrestling and this, and I just got flooded after the talk. People were like, oh, I used to be, and they're like, that has nothing to do with my business. Or, he was talking about whatever, him and his wife, whatever the case is. These little snippets and tidbits people can really attract and connect with. So
it's a bridge.
Don't be afraid.
It's something that relates them to you.
Yeah.
They feel related to you because of.
Yeah, 100%.
So awesome. And I think it's really great too. Like for product entrepreneurs, it's like, if you're going to be the face of your brand, then this is something that you need to pay attention to. It's not just about the product. It's about you. It's about your story with the product, and it's about how you position yourself with your audience that has them buy the product, not just the product. It's you.
Yes.
And so if people want to learn more about you and get in contact with you, or even get a copy of this book, how do they go about doing so?
Yeah, so you can check out my website. I've got like what I call an authority positioning portfolio at MikeSaunders360.com. So MikeSaunders360.com, and you can read many of my Forbes articles there. There's a tab that says books, and you can get a copy of my book, Authority Selling, for free. Just pay shipping, and you just check a little bit about me. And if there's a contact button there, you can schedule the time to talk or send me a text. But that would be the best way to reach out and connect.
Awesome. Mike, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you have to share with my audience, and I appreciate the randomness of what brought us here together.
Awesome. Thank you, Rich.
Thanks for listening to Innovations and Breakthroughs with your host, Rich Goldstein. Be sure to click subscribe, check us out on the web at innovationsandbreakthroughs.com, and we'll see you next time.